All right, these are angle relationships, some of our advanced questions. So we'll start with something that looks like this. Of course, we know that this straight line here equals 180 degrees. So this time we're going to have to add 2x plus 3 plus x minus 6 needs to be 180 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and solve it, and then I'll put it in my calculator to show you how to do that. A 2x plus an x is 3x. Positive 3 and negative 6 is a negative 3, and that equals 180. Then I'm going to add 3 to each side and end up with 3x equals 183. When I divide by 3, that tells me that x is 61. If you didn't know how to do that, but you knew that the two angles, the 2x plus 3 and the x minus 6, needed to be added together to equal 180, you could always just try to guess and see where you started. I'm going to start with 50, and that's 147. That's pretty close, but not quite enough. So I'm going to go ahead and do 55. So I'm almost there. So I'm going to try 60. Very close. So I'm going to try 61, and that gives me 180 degrees. Even if I'm not using my calculator for solving, you need to put it in your calculator just to make sure that you solved correctly and you got your math right. So that's how you would get to 61 there. All right, this problem, as you can see, it wants the measure of angle 1, so we're going to have to be careful not just to find x and stop. We got to get the measure of angle 1. That these are complementary angles. They form a corner, or 90 degrees. The measure of angle 1 is 2x. The measure of angle 2 is 6x minus 6. Again, I know I have to add these together to equal 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and solve. 6x and 2x is 8x minus 6 equals 90. I'm going to add 6 to each side. 8x equals 96. And when I divide by 8, that gives me 12. Now, that's my x value, but I want to know what the measure of angle 1 is. So I'm going to have to plug in that 12 for my x, and I get 24 degrees as my answer. I'm going to go over here to my calculator and make sure that if you don't know how to solve that, you can solve it using your calculator. So I'm going to put in 2x plus 6x minus 6. And I'm going to go to the next line and put x equals, and I found it to be 12, so I'm going to plug that in, and it certainly does give me 90, so I know I'm right. Now, if I want to have the value of just angle 1, I'm going to put in 2x, and that's 24. And for example, if I wanted the value of angle 2, I could put in 6x minus 6, and I would know that was 66. And then when you add them together, of course, you get 90. All right? So let's see what our next problem is. We're off to the P theorem for beginners. That'll be our next video.